Welcome back to the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. Bitcoin is back above 60K. It's about to break 61,000. Elon and Trump literally broke the internet yesterday, even after the EU Commission tried to stop it from happening. Not surprising, but what I found really interesting yesterday is Trump did not mention Bitcoin or crypto for that matter. We'll dive into that. Marathon Mining, they're stamping Made in USA on found Bitcoin blocks. The Satoshi Action Fund is... well, they've raised 100K to help legalize your right to self-custody. Gary Cardone made up $50,000 of that. Metaplanet buys some more Bitcoin. Before we dive into the Trump debacle, I thought this is a pretty good video to be able to set the stage, hold Bitcoin with diamond hands.
I want to talk about ETF flows real quickly, and that's because even though we saw some flows out of ETFs last Friday, I was tracking the Thursday to Thursday flows, and despite all of this pressure, all the selling and all the volatility that we've seen over the last month, we're still seeing inflows into the ETFs, and I think that's a positive story. You take out those two grayscale ETFs, so spot Bitcoin and spot Ether ETFs that have higher fees, we actually had additions of about 250 to $300 million in those ETFs from Thursday to Thursday. So on that front, it looks like the new people who are investing in these ETFs, for lack of a better term, they have diamond hands. Also want to consider that the dollar is up today.
In regards to that, that's all we need to do is just buy a stack and chill to be able to get through the volatility, and I believe a whole lot more is coming. So diving into Elon Musk versus Trump. Elon. All the negative headlines were so predictable. They're such NPCs. All this does is drive even more people to listen to the conversation themselves and realize how much the legacy media lies to them. Over and over and over again. I did do a quick Google search and have brought up a couple. Elon Musk, Donald Trump interview on X started with an immediate tech disaster. The dumbest climate conversation of all time. Experts in the Musk-Trump interview. Where do they get these experts from? Trump and Musk host friendly conversation on X after delayed technical difficulties. Rambling Trump. Musk interviewed marred by tech issues. How Musk and Trump put aside their differences. Trump and Musk talk about their assassination attempts and deportations during a glitchy chat on X. The glitchiness that happened, they were delayed by about 45 minutes. The rest of the conversation, it was pretty free flowing as just a great conversation. What was most interesting is the EU did not want it to happen. Times jumping in. Musk interview showed Trump doesn't know how to run against Harris. Not so sure I got that takeaway. Very little was mentioned apart from a few slanderous allegations from Trump towards Harris, but Mario chiming in. Mainstream media used Trump-Elon space coverage, ignores record-breaking success. So this is how it went. The numbers speak for themselves. 1.32 million live listeners during the space, 77 million impressions in just 3 hours, over 343,000 likes, 104 reposts, 318,000 comments. Despite this unprecedented engagement, mainstream media focused on technical issues, ignoring its massive success and impact on political discourse. Did you check it out? It was well worth watching the replay. I'll read this and then I'll give you the context first. Americans that have never lived in Europe thinking that allowing lies and misinformation is a good thing is just naive. Europe has witnessed too much of it over its significantly longer history, allowing it to flourish. Never has ended well in the old continent. Eric Townsend, time for Elon Musk to grow a pair and issue an ultimatum to the good people of the EU, remove Terry Breton from office and repeal the DSA within 90 days. The European Commission did put out this pretty damning letter saying that Elon Musk needs to be held accountable. They are trying to stop free speech, and we'll come back to that. Hold that thought in your mind for 2 secs. We'll dive into the Bitcoin things, or the lack of Bitcoin things, I dare say, in that conversation. But Oz Integrity, having listened to the Trump-Musk discussion, it was free-flowing, easy to listen to, apart from sudden demand crash in the service at the start. It was good. We really do live in a time where there is reality and then there is this absolute tripe from scared little tyrants. Trump rambles, slurs his way through Elon Musk interviews. It was an unmitigated disaster. For a fascism-curious billionaire who loves cuddling up to right-wing loons, Elon Musk sure is good at making right-wing politicians look stupid. Let us know in the comments what your takeaways from the chat. For me, It's just a pretty easy going conversation. I believe Elon Musk did a really good job at many times pulling Trump back in to not be so antagonistic, but it just flowed really well, in my opinion. A little bit off to a slow start, obviously, with the tech issues, but breaking records there. Anthony chiming in, Elon and Donald Trump explain how government spending creates inflation is going to break many economists' brains. Checks don't bounce when they're written by the government. We've got Donald Trump Jr. coming out with a tweet regarding that. Hold that thought as well. That's the second one. But Bitcoin and crypto go unmentioned during Trump Musk X space. Bettors at one point gave it over a 60% chance of Trump mentioning digital assets during the interview. Interview between Elon Musk and Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump attracted over 1 million listeners on X. Crypto was not mentioned during the 2-hour-long event, which I found most interesting. Over 2 hours, a wide-ranging interview covered a variety of topics, including illegal immigration, the economy, AI, and global warming. Nearly everything but Bitcoin and crypto. He's also left it off his 20 most important jobs once he comes into office. Is he changing tunes? Is he just here for the votes? Of course he's just here for the votes, but is it just a big joke and he's going to do what the current incumbents have done, or is he going to be pro-positive? I think more pro-positive. I'm just interested in why he's just cut it totally out of the conversation as of late. As this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, Musk said on the alleged attack. On Polymarket, bettors were given a 65% chance of crypto being mentioned during the interview, with over 600K staked on the topic. Prediction Market also added another market task, bettors, about the possibility of Bitcoin being mentioned, which peaked at 69%, with approximately $330,000 on the table, and we have hit $61,000 live on the stream. Hopefully you have been smashing that red buy button. We have had that lately. Bitcoin is going up and to the right forever. All we need to do is just buy, stack, and chill. Ride out the $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 days to the up and to the downside. They're coming, they're here. We had a $10,000 day last week as a good opportunity in hindsight. Bettors had punted over 250K on Trump, mentioning Tesla, which peaked at $79,000. However, Trump dodged the specific word by referring to the electric vehicle brand from Musk as your cars. Other words that bettors had punted on, which Trump... I wonder if they were paying attention to these betting markets and they're like, let's see what we can exclude or not say and go against the markets just for a little bit of fun. Maybe, if we were to put the tinfoil hat on. Anyway, other words that bettors had punted on, which Trump ended up saying on the X space, include Magna, illegal immigrant, and the word tampon. While crypto has become an election issue, with Trump appearing at recent Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville to announce crypto policy, it continues to go unmentioned during mainstream events such as the first presidential debate in June. Hopefully that changes. We can see Elon Musk is still paying attention to Bitcoin and the Bitcoin community. Mechanic has posted this. GitHub projects community. Why is a pull request? Why is a pull request not a push request? Luke, it should actually be a merge request. Elon Musk 100% on that. So he is participating in the Bitcoin conversation. This is that thought from Donald Trump. Who else loves the idea, going back to Anthony Pompilano, who else loves the idea of Elon Musk heading up a government efficiency committee to eliminate the likely trillions of dollars of waste we have in our bloated bureaucracy? I can't imagine a better person for the task. Trump will make this happen. If anyone's going to make that happen, it is going to be Donald Trump. Kim, Elon strikes again. This is pretty funny. Ursula throws theory under the bus. So regarding that notice, I guess, from the EU Commission, where they're saying, don't go ahead, basically, stop it. You don't have a right to free speech. The Financial Times on Tuesday, the European Commission denied Britain had approval from Ursula von der Leyen to send the letter. The timing and the wording of the letter was neither coordinated or agreed with the president. Brussels slapped down theory Britain over harmful content letter to Elon Musk. Internal Market Commissioner's warning to owners the social media site was not approved, but it went out anyway. They are looking for a scapegoat. Remember, we have Plan B. We can opt out of the broken money system outside the lies. If you need any help to be able to go through that journey, take your Bitcoin off the exchange, the Bitcoin way, the best cybersecurity experts in the field, 25 years experience. Secure your Bitcoin, run a node, number one. Protect your online security and opt out. Get a plan B residency if you need to, a second passport. What I really like, Bitcoin privacy, the inheritance planning, the buying the Bitcoin, KYC free is pretty important at a time like now to be able to have both. Setting up multi-sig cybersecurity and so much more. The first 30 minutes is free. Link at the top of the description. They'll take you from zero to hero, from not knowing how to move your transactions to run a node to be under the radar. It's what it's all about being a sovereign individual. Metaplanet, they can't stop. It's pretty funny. MicroStrategy kicked it off. Metaplanet, the Japanese company trying to catch up to Sailor. They did purchase 57 Bitcoin the other day, about 500 million yen. They are up to 303 Bitcoin. So a little bit off the 210,000 Bitcoin, but they're going really hard and doing everything they can to get as much Bitcoin as soon as possible. The Bitcoin price, I was looking at the 1 minute chart for a little bit of fun this morning. We are at 61,000 up and to the right as Bitcoin does a higher 61,539, about $500 off, a lower 58,451. Even if we look over the last 7 days, a lower 54, a higher 62. This sideways, as James Check would call it, chop solidation, it is compressing, and sooner or later it needs to break to the up or to the downside. Bitcoin moves 10, 11, 12 days per year. It makes most of its gains. You need to be already in the market, not trying to time the market. So hopefully you have gotten the most of these great opportunities, and still at 61,000, I'm buying. Vivek, I wanted to play this video yesterday and didn't get around to it, but I thought this is pretty interesting, the way Vivek talks in regards to Camilla Harris embracing Bitcoin and the crypto industry, because we're not getting much out of him at the moment. And politicians of the government here to save you, 100% not in any case. And maybe we get lucky and the governments around the world just change their tune. They stop printing money. They start to do things for us instead of against us, for our freedom instead of against it. Until that happens, we can do that now. We can just opt out, and we don't need to wait. We don't need to rely or leave it up to anyone. But it does make things easier, and we'll dive into the Satoshi Action Fund shortly. But Vivek.
There are those who argue, who think if you're a single voter on crypto, that this could lose her the election if she doesn't come out and embrace it. Look, Trump was all for the not taxing tips. Now she's all for. Do you think she will ultimately embrace crypto as an industry?
I predict her verbiage will. And I do think that part of the reason why is you see Trump's speech at the Bitcoin conference. It's just a matter of competing for votes that she's going to adopt a thoughtful position. Now, speaking as an American, not from a partisan perspective, I think that's a good thing. I think we should want great debate in the marketplace of ideas. Even if she offers a thoughtful digital assets framework or policy, even if I don't agree with all of it, I think that'll be a good thing for the country. But what I challenge Kamala Harris to do is not just cite the pieties in the words. Go into detail. Say what you actually believe about self-custody of assets. Say what you actually believe about whether you think Gary Gensler should continue as the leader of the SEC. So I think those specifics are going to matter a lot, Kelly.
For sure, but is what you're saying is just a general position of openness is probably all the industry really is looking for. This idea that it's not a partisan issue, that Republicans are for it and Democrats are against it.
It should not be a partisan issue. Now, what I think you are seeing is this tendency to really embrace whatever wins her the most votes. But when you're looking at your question, Andrew, of how do you assess the seriousness of that, the metric to use is how specific she actually gets on those policy proposals.
It's pretty good words by Vivek there in regards to Camilla. Get a couple of things. Field saying Camilla will bend at the knee before Bitcoin. You can't change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes you. Obviously, it is an easy way to be able to get a large voter base. We'll see. If they come out positive, that is good for everyone. In the meantime, just take 100% responsibility and don't worry. Just hold it in self-custody, air gap, run your own node. But after Trump gave that speech at Bitcoin 2024, Marathon's done something pretty interesting. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. I don't know if it counts as spam on the blockchain, but a little bit of fun. They stamp made in the USA on the Bitcoin blocks mine. The stunt followed former President Donald Trump's statement that he wants all the remaining Bitcoin to be made in USA. US-based Bitcoin mining firm Marathon Digital Holdings has announced that it'll stamp the label Made in USA on all the Bitcoin blocks the company mines in the US. In a post on X, Marathon wrote, Mara's Team USA proudly declared an each American-made block we mine. Thiel believes that Marathon is the only large-scale mining operator that can stamp Bitcoin with the label, the only large-scale miner who can do this because we run our own pool, and sure that all the blocks mined by Mara pools are made in the USA, he added. Former US president claimed that Bitcoin may be the country's last line of defense against a central bank digital currency. Central bank digital currency, they are moving more and more and more towards that here in Australia. We've got a video, I think the name's Bill Shorten. I put it out in regards to digital IDs, and it's just a step before. Anyway, I'll go back. While Trump's comments warn of a looming CBDC and the need for Bitcoin to fight it, the Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said in March that the country is nowhere near any form of CBDC. Hopefully not, but I would expect that they probably are. We know they're working on it. At Bitcoin 24 conference in Nashville, Tennessee, Thiel said that Bitcoin mining may flourish under a Trump administration. The executive said in a panel discussion that Republicans have seized the day on the topic and that the people have no idea what Democrats are planning for their energy policy. To be updated. Now, Dennis Porter is working for your right to be able to mine Bitcoin, to be able to self-custody Bitcoin, to be able to run your own node. We raised 100K in 72 hours. Bitcoin advocacy to thrive thanks to Gary Cadone. Money to support Bitcoin rights. How did it happen? During the Twitter Spaces, Gary generously offered to match up to 50K in donations to Satoshi Action. Within days, we hit that number, which means we're able to raise 100K in only 72 hours. This 1 million. But this 100,000 will go directly towards helping Satoshi Action Fund fight for Bitcoin here in the USA. The big check photo was taken during Bitcoin Nashville. On the memo, Gary wrote for Bitcoin Assurance, which is exactly what the funds will be used for. Our work to advance right to mine, right to self-custody will continue to accelerate across the USA. This is good. We will continue to fight to ensure Americans have access to Bitcoin. I could not be more thankful to Gary for his support and growing friendship. I'm super excited about what he has been building. Gary has been extremely active in pushing Bitcoin forward. He and Samuel Arms are smashing it out of the park on the media front. They host regular Twitter space, love YouTube shows. Gary consistently encourages his rapidly growing audience to focus on Bitcoin. He also regularly pushes people to perform acts of kindness without bragging about it, as Gary would say. Gary, it's truly an honor to fight alongside you to advance Bitcoin. I deeply appreciate your support and words of wisdom you share with your audience. Follow Gary and do something kind for a friend, neighbor, or someone random as a thank you to Gary for his financial support of our work at Satoshi Action Fund. 50K in the bag. Everyone else that donated or is sending well wishes and just support for Dennis Porter and what they are doing with the Satoshi Action Fund. Well done to everyone out there. I'm not going to read the article, but this was last week. More extreme fear than the FTX crash. 5 things to know in Bitcoin this week. The number one takeaway is when the market is so red and so bloody and there is so much fear and Bitcoin feels like it's red, it's probably the best time to be able to smash the buy button. Down at what, 48K? And we're back at $61,000. Is looking pretty good in hindsight. Hopefully, it's a big takeaway. And Joseph, the author of Pay Attention to Bitcoin, which is absolutely fantastic book and a must read. Bitcoin is volatile, but volatility is a sign of high energy. You know, rivers, waterfalls, fires, and windstorms are volatile. They contain energy that we can harness. This is Michael Saylor.
Bitcoin is volatile, but volatility is a signal of high energy. You know, rivers, waterfalls, fires, and windstorms are volatile. They just contain energy that we can harness. And so this digital asset is creating tens of billions of dollars of credit and liquidity at all times for everybody, everywhere in the world. And it's attracting massive amounts of capital, and that's what's driving that superior performance. Bitcoin is volatile.
All right, Saylor. He's always got the wise words, but Bitcoin is volatile, incredibly volatile, but over time it's volatile to the upside. You don't need to trade it, you don't need to try time, and it's just about stacking, securing that bag, holding on to it, hodling, hold on for dear life, and enjoy how much easier your life gets through everything that comes from stacking the world's hardest asset. But thank you very much. Sam, now, this gentleman here is not a Bitcoiner yet. But very interesting, some of the things he puts out there on X. ABS, the Australian Bureau of Statistics, recently published Selected Living Cost Index, which is different to CPI. Measures living costs for employees, pensioners, etc. Includes mortgage interest, which is excluded from the CPI. Employees are going through biggest living cost increase in 3 decades. So Selected Living Cost Index by household type and consumer price index Australia annual movement to get as high as 10%. It's sitting about 6% here. It also includes price land, which is excluded from general CPI. The inflation rate for employees is hovering above 6%. At 3.8%, which the Reserve Bank of Australia advisors, I believe you lose about 34% of your purchasing power over a 10-year period, either 34 or 36%. And then it's actually 6%, and actually for a lot of things, it's way higher still. Electricity, groceries, fuel. In 2022, it hit more than 10%, which hadn't happened in a very long time. Use a link to play around with data charts. I have reposted that at Sean Clark 911. And just really quickly, let us know if you're watching there on YouTube or X, and hit subscribe if you haven't already. If we vibe, you will get the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. We've got 2 more articles to cover after the block clock. We are at block height 856,657. The exchange rate there, it is at 60,982 sats per USD. It's still pretty good. 1,640. One day you're going to wake up, it's going to be at 1,500, 1,300, 1,200, 1,000 sats per USD. This cycle very quickly, in my opinion. When I say quickly, over the next 3-6 months, it's going to drop under 1,000 satoshis per USD and keep on dropping as the price gets higher and higher and higher. The market cap is only at $1.2 trillion. The blocks are working as they are meant to. It did go from Bitcoin, and I pegged in to liquid last night. That was taking a while. I left it for about 40 minutes and went to sleep. Maybe should have set the fees a little bit higher, but woke up this morning as all good. And also, in regards to fees, they are still very cheap. So if you need to do any UTXO management, if you need any help, you can reach out to the Bitcoin Way today. But average block time still a little bit high, 10 minutes and 24 seconds too slow. This is just a PSA. So this person is, I guess I bring it up because there's no free lunch. You don't just get something for nothing with no repercussions in life. This guy, Mr. Singh, jailed for spending spree after accidentally receiving $10.47 million refund. So without going into it too much, went to deposit $100, bounced back, and they put his account number into a line of Excel, and they ended up giving him $10.47 million. He moved into different bank accounts, started spending it like crazy. The cryptocurrency exchange went after the bank went after him. He has now gone to jail. So if you get something for nothing, if you haven't put in the proof of work, or you're stuck on this proof of stake mindset, things like that do happen. Don't let that be you. It's the issue that I have with crypto in general is everyone is rent seeking and doesn't think they can provide value and earn their income. So a windfall has turned out to the guy being in jail for a couple of years. Last thing that I want to show today, we can get into a little bit of a banter. If you can smash the like button, it's super easy. It's free. It does get the Bitcoin message out there. But Bill Shorten here in Australia, the trust exchange, trust me, trust the science, trust me, bro. We heard that so much in 2020, 2021, 2022. We're still hearing it now, 23, 24. And Do you feel like the government is trusting you, or they want you to trust them blindly? That's more of the takeaway that I feel. Just be aware of these things. They say it won't be mandatory. You can opt into it. Great, fantastic, well done, that's good. But with that, you may not be able to drive. You can opt in or you can opt out to your license, but if you don't opt into your license, you can't do it. From here, digital IDs, as it becomes more and more enmeshed into our financial system, then they bring out CBDCs, and probably nothing will go wrong for a very long time with them, until they want to do a bail-in and they just skim money out of your account, or you've eaten too much meat. Carbon credits are low. They stop you spending, or negative interest rates. Those are the things that do happen already with CBDCs and are likely to continue to keep happening. To think that it won't happen in your country, they're putting in those steps, the framework, the regulation, to be able to take total control, and total absolute power corrupts absolutely. But Bill.
Today, I unveil a project that we have in development that we call the Trust Exchange, or TEX. I'm collaborating on this project with my colleagues, Senator Katie Galley, the Minister of Finance, who has carriage of digital ID, and the Assistant Treasurer and Minister for the ATO, Stephen Jones. Service Australia is partnering with other government systems to develop TEX, to give Australians the ability to verify their identity and credentials based on official information already held by the Australian Government. I want to stress that TEX is currently in the proof of concept stage. We have an $11.4 million Commonwealth investment in the build-out as part of the Digital ID project. I think business is keen, and to be clear, TEX will be an opt-in system.
Sure.
I suspect people will vote with their feet once they have an option, and they'll choose businesses that offer them the convenience of control and security of TEX. I'm pleased to advise that Telstra and Google have welcomed the opportunity to be involved in the development of this important step towards our digital future. And the Tech Council of Australia, the Commonwealth Bank and employment platform SEEK have all given in-principle support for TEX. Imagine if we practiced radical trust in the people, the consumers of government services.
Imagine.
And we listen to them about what they need and how they want to access it. In return, we may be rewarded with the radical trust from the community necessary to fulfil our ambitions of an easy, useful, simple, safe, seamless digital future. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. No, thank you very much. I don't want it. And hopefully out there, everyone is aware that these things are not good. What I found interesting, they're pairing up with the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. They limit you already to $10,000 a month into Bitcoin or crypto for that matter to get outside their system. They're already limiting your freedom to transact. And then for the Commonwealth to be funding this, where's that money come from? The taxpayers. So the taxpayers, us, are paying for our own financial freedom being taken away, which is absolutely absurd. They're paired up with the ATO. Of course, they're going to want every single tax dollar. I understand if you sell Bitcoin, if you make capital gains, pay your tax. If you get a windfall, $10.47 million, don't fall into a habit of tax evasion. They will come after you. But they've already got those powers. This is just going to make it so much worse for everyone out there. Obviously, a huge advocate of freedom money, uncensorable, unconfiscatable resistance money. That is Bitcoin held in self-custody in an air-gap wallet. Please run a node for this particular reason. Hold on to it. KYC Bitcoin is great. KYC-free Bitcoin is even better and a must with things going on like that. I'll leave that one with you. So that's news with the fast facts. We will go into a really quick banter. It won't be a big one this morning, but if you've got any comments, questions, drop them now in the live show. And if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button. It means a lot. And just tap on the like button and get the Bitcoin message out there. It's still so bloody cheap at $61,000. And people are going to come into the space when there's huge FOMO in the market, when we're at $100,000, $150,000. And long term, those levels are still absolutely fantastic to buy. But as we go to a higher and higher market cap, and especially if we race up there very quickly, say we just go from 60 to 150 overnight, for example, and then it dumps $20,000, $30,000, those people that got in at $150,000 are going to get shaken out as it drops down to 120K because they haven't put in the proof of work. They haven't studied it. And then from 120, if it shoots off to 200K and they start chasing it, Last cycle, there's a guy down the road and we started at the same time. He put in 5K as Bitcoin was pumping, it dropped down, he sold and it started pumping, he put back in. Long story short, he turned that 5K into under like 2,300K from trying to time the tops and bottoms. And that's what I don't want to see again. Absolutely devastating. At that time, one Bitcoin was about $3,300 US and it was $5,000 Australian. So would have had one Bitcoin, which is about $92,000 here in Australia today. But from trying to time it to be able to trade it, from getting sucked in with the FOMO and the FUD, unfortunate. So if you can do me a favor and smash the like button, it'll push this message out why Bitcoin is still so cheap and people can get used to the volatility, hitting the red, hitting the green, knowing that this is a good deal, is something that we hold on to for a very long time. Hopefully you can help me out. That's the mission we are on the channel. But let's dive into a quick little banter. How is everyone on this glorious, magical day? It was absolutely pissing down yesterday. We'll get into the comments in a section. And I had thought I'd waterproofed the studio, the retaining wall, the sheer amount, the volume of water. It has come into the floor, which is interesting. We'll be ripping this roof off totally over the next couple of weeks as well, but now I need to get back into the floor. So the studio is going to change. I may need to do it in the garage. I'll set it up as nice as I can for a week. Just letting you know. G'day, Gargoyle in the house. Johnny Midas. The world clearly wants more Trump and more Elon. The powers that be want nothing more than to silence opposing views. What I find interesting with that is, while that letter wasn't endorsed, I feel like it probably was. And they said, hey, can you write this? And we're not going to approve it publicly. Just send it out there. You're going to be the scapegoat. But don't worry, we'll look after you long term. Did that happen or did that not happen? Either way, they sent that letter out. Trying to put pressure on the debate still went ahead. And it wasn't antagonistic. It wasn't right-wing. It wasn't about us versus them. It was just open conversation. And for that to be missing from the world is insane. Absolutely insane. These are just words. What happened to sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Like, society has got so soft as of late, or the powers that be don't want open conversation. Fuck. Absolutely crazy. It is clown world. Thank God we've got Satoshi's system to opt out of the nonsense. Michael, good to see you this morning. Hello, everyone. Chico on the van. Trump can one-up Harris with a no tax on cap gains and income. My take, never trust the mainstream media. Harris would be much, much worse than Biden. More debt, more illegals, and more suffering for Americans. Gargoyle, got to give the EU credit for the sheer bold face nerve for thinking they can control people's free speech in another country. Absolutely amazing. You can't trust any politician. Biggest takeaway of the show today, back yourself. Bitcoin and self-custody, it doesn't matter what any of them do. It's just pure entertainment. Things in some areas will get a little bit better under one, a lot worse under the other, but that same candidate will make it better for different cohorts of people as well. So, I don't know. It's just easier to opt out. Appreciate you, Mike. Field, Camilla will bend at the knee before Bitcoin. I predict she'll be wearing a blonde wig and red hat. OPD in the house. Good morning, Bitcoin fam. It's a shame Vivek dropped out of the race. He'd make us such a great president. It truly is. I like the way that he speaks. Very sharp, very intelligent, young. He's hungry. He's a businessman. He knows how to allocate capital. I don't know what his downfalls are, but he's a family man. He cares about Bitcoin. He fundamentally understands Bitcoin. I don't know why Trump didn't make him the running mate, but he is backing the Trump team. What part is Vivek playing? Does anyone know? But really, really interesting. I thought maybe it would have been the running mate, VP for a couple of years, and then he would have made an absolutely superb president from a very detached point of view here in Australia. You know, we only know what we know, and that's what's so needed about the conversation. And quite often in the comments, and probably some people watching now will be like, Sean, shut up, you know absolutely nothing about politics. I don't at all, and that's why we talk and we have a conversation, you push back and you correct me when I'm wrong. and we grow as a community, or you help me grow as a person. But unless we're willing to sound stupid or ask dumb questions, how are we ever going to learn? Or we just sitting there, hey, I don't want to be wrong, and we just let them go ahead with their rhetoric. Fuck that. It's, life's more important, and having open discords, how we grow together. Joseph Vobel, nice one, energy equals opportunity. I like that. Nice one. I think there's meant to be a full stop or a comma there, but energy equals opportunity, 100%. And Joseph Vobel, pay attention to Bitcoin. It's an epic book. Oh, and in regards to that, Joseph messaged me yesterday. He's given me 3 copies, 2 to be able to give away, so we will do that on the show as well. Yuck Fo. I absolutely love it. Let's go. Yuck Fo. Good morning. Sean, buy Bitcoin. Let's go. Barry Sang. Soon the millionaires will figure out that they each can't own one whole Bitcoin and hold it in their own self-custody wallet. Absolute FOMO. 100%. Whatever you do with Bitcoin, please just get it off the exchange today in whatever way. Make sure your seed is on steel minimum. Titanium's even better, not on paper. Get it off the exchange. Hold it in self-custody. Because the games, like we saw so many exchanges collapse, more and more will collapse. This cycle, the higher Bitcoin price goes, the faster it goes. My prediction is the more exchanges will collapse. If any of the ETFs are stuffing around, rehypothecating Bitcoin, they're going to get found out as well. That's the nature of Bitcoin. But don't trust anyone else. Please just back yourself, trust yourself, and learn those skills. Brian, appreciate you. Great show once again. Florida Bitcoin, good to see you. Let's effing go. 60,000, 861,000. It is a great day. Won't be mandatory until they have a hold, then they will enforce it on us. As always, slowly then suddenly, they bring these things in, they stack them up over days, weeks, months, years, decades. And it's been a long agenda, the totalitarian footstep to be able to control, to be able to enslave humanity. And now we can be like, oh, I see what you're doing. Fuck that. I'm out. Have fun. And there's a good post yesterday, I'm paraphrasing. It is actually an incredible podcast that I'd urge everyone, if you're looking for something to listen to. What Bitcoin did is with Eric Kaysen, Danny Knowles, and American Hodl. And I just love how Eric keeps coming in and just being like, nah, like this is why. But Peter McCormack at the start said, I'm paraphrasing, I've messed it up a little bit. Actually, let me find it because I want to say Peter's words, word for word. I posted it last night. It's the last thing I posted. I did repost that video as well. It'll only take me 2 seconds, a little bit longer to find it, but not very long. Here we go. Just build your life around those people and fucking ignore them. In regards to Clown World, and I've just come to that realization lately myself, whatever they do, they're going to keep going on with their absolute nonsense, the retardation. Sorry, that's probably not politically correct. I take it back, but just the noise in the space, fuck it. It doesn't matter. They can play their stupid fiat games. We've got something else. We've got the Bitcoin community. It is just time to be able to opt out. Just build our life around them. But it's a good video. I'll repost it so it's at the top of my feed. Not quote, just repost. That's Sean Clark. Don't touch it, friends. Jason Mercer being a troll this morning. How are you, brother? Time in the market is better than time in the market. It's raining down here. It's just stopped today. But I do need to pull up the soft tiles of the floor and let it air out and then get back into the retaining wall. Bastard. Jason is in New South Wales. I love getting ready for the day with the positive Bitcoin vibes. Well, Bitcoin is the most positive thing in the world. Fix the money, fix the world, be your own bank. South of Sydney, Bitcoin is based. Just Bitcoin is based in general, but Attila Bitcoin is based on math, not politics. Love it. Hey, Sean, who receives the giveaway from last week? You're going to have to remind me. And if you remind me correctly, Jason, it may just be yourself. It's been pretty busy. You can't change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes you. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, smash the like button, share the video. If you haven't already seen the podcast that I've gone through, the ones with Tony from the Bitcoin Way, they're intense. they're made as a package to be able to send to someone that's maybe dipping their toes into Bitcoin to understand why Bitcoin is so important right now. We see digital IDs, CBDCs, the food is fiat, everything going on, just inflation in general. We've got an opportunity to be able to opt out. Please send the signal. Do something nice for yourself. There's somebody else out there. We'll tomorrow morning, Walker is coming on the show live. So that should be a bloody good rip. We'll see you there for that. Hey, have a glorious day.